Hello everybody, welcome to today's live. How are you all? Hi guys. Hi Sean, hi Diane, hi Loretta, welcome guys. Come in. Hi Shara and Abby. Hi. How is everybody? I feel like it's been forever since I've seen you or spoken to you all, I should say, because I don't technically see you, but it's been forever. Hello. Hi guys. So I was supposed to stream on Monday and I ended up with a really bad ear infection. Now I'm still a little bit lopsided, but majority of it's cleared up, but it was in my really bad ear and I don't have much of an eardrum, so no eardrops because it just is too much agony. So unfortunately there's other things I have to do to help clear them up, but not very nice, and they don't sort of give me any warning. They just kind of happen. I wake up usually from overnight and go, uh-oh. But yeah, it was a bit of a crappy week for me, but still. And also, little Nani had her operation. She was spayed yesterday, so she is not feeling very good. Poor little thing. Oh, it's so hard to see them in pain like that. She's so gorgeous. It's just so sad. Yes, hi Rain, welcome. Thanks, Abby. And yeah, so there you go. I got some book flip throughs and stuff going on. And I just wanted to have a chat with you, keep you up to date. Make sure that you're ready to do the Christmas, I don't even know what it's called now, I've just said that. Wait. Where's my phone? Victoria Colours has organised a little 2-day streaming event called 2 Days of Christmas Colouring Event, and it starts later on tonight for me, but it's from the 6th to the 7th of December. I'm going to be streaming tomorrow about 3 in the afternoon, so 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, approximately 29 hours from now again. Gosh. Oh, we don't want any of that in here, thank you. Alright. Hi Joey. Hi, welcome. Colouring with Vicky, that's right. Thank you, Victoria, and welcome. My bad, it's Colouring with Vicky. So I was going to see if I can find the spreadsheet for you, but of course I'm not that organised. You know, just, you know, one of those things that doesn't happen. Let me see if I can find it. Helen's usually here. She usually does that kind of thing. Copy. Wait, I can do this. Excuse my phone. For some reason, it wants to play every ad and I can't press pause. Alright, here we go. Did it come up? Yay! I can see it. Hi Mia. So if you want to be a part of that or join in into those live streams, pop on over and check it out. We have Cece, Colour with Felt, Laura, Reading with Pugs, myself, Colouring with Vicky, Sammy, and Honour Your Crafts. So a few. Hi Miranda, welcome. So that'll be a bit of fun. No worries, Rain. I get it. It's part of the rules anyway. They should know that. I know there's so many things going on, Loretta, and it is kind of hard to keep up with everything. So the other thing that's happening is Passionista Colorista. She's a lovely, lovely lady, Isabel, and she's organised this magical advent calendar for the month of December. And there is 30, wait, it's not in order. 34 cute little images. Let's have a look at them. Got Joanna Basford. I don't know how to say that. Marja. Emily, Laura, Clara, Jen. Camera's a little bit blurry there. Sorry, guys. Christine, Caran, Hannah Calzone. Heaps of cute little pictures for this magical calendar event, magical advent coloring. It's called the hashtag. Hannah Lynn. There's heaps. Look at them all. And each day is Fabrica Fantasy. That's so cute. I haven't had a really good look at these yet, so this is the first time I've had a. Is that a horse? Cute. Oh. Police helicopter driving over the top. Oh, look. Jennifer Zimmerman. Look at them all. And there's a couple of extras there as well. So if you would like to join in on the Magical Advent Calendar event, the images are free on Passionista Colorista's blog. I will post up the link here for you. No, wait. Because I don't have it. I swear. Oh, I put it in the description. I swear I collected it today is what I was going to say. But I can grab it for you. Let me just Instagram it. And I can post it up for you. So each day there's a different image. That's her Instagram. I've popped the link for the advent calendar in the description as well, but here is her blog. So it's available in the US size, which is this one I've got is on 8.5 by 11, which is a letter size, and also there's A4 size as well. Very cute. And oh, that brings me to my next sort of little thing that I wanted to mention. I know there's lots of stuff going on, but in the Colouring Carnival, is that the group's name? Shelley has organised an event, advent calendar event in there, and each day you have to produce a colouring page with a certain topic in it. So what a fantastic way to get it done really quickly, because there's loads of images in here, and they're just quick little things that you can do every day. That's not going to take up too much time. And I say that, but it probably will take you time, you know, perfectionism and all. So I think a couple of days ago we had one with a gingerbread man, and I haven't done a gingerbread man before, so I'm going to colour this one. Actually, there's quite a few things. I haven't done a lot of Christmas colouring. I don't know why. But, oh, there you go. Rita Berman and Kim White also have advent calendars. Cool. Very nice. Thank you, Abby. Thank you. Hi, Elaine. Welcome. Colouring Carnival. There you go. Abby's posted the link. It's in the events. It's one of the major events that she's doing at the moment. I don't know. I just check what the event is called. It's a mid-grade game, and it's called Advent Calendar. That's what the event looks like. And each day another picture is revealed, and you have to do whatever's on that particular day. So today's is an angel. But I've only done, I haven't done a snowman yet. I need to do a stocking, and I need to do some candy canes, and yeah, there's a few things I haven't done, but as I said, I haven't coloured a lot of Christmas stuff, so but yeah, so each day until the 24th there'll be something that you need to post. Something. Loretta, I need a secretary, I tell you. Anyway, then also in my Patreon, I've coloured over all of the actual blends, but I'm doing the 30-day colour blending challenge. Stare. Let's pop it up. So each day for 30 days, I've done a different colour blend in both marker or Copics and in pencil. So each day we're revealing a new blend. This colour sheet that I was just showing a second ago, that's just an example of some of the colours that I've done so far. So great fun. Something that you can do every day, especially at this time of the year when it's quite busy but you want to do something to help practice blending, and also to give you a colour blend to go into your colour blend I don't know, references, I guess. So that is available for patrons on Patreon for this month. Because I wasn't going to be doing a lot of videos for the month of December, I decided to do this one. It was a little bit easier for me. I can do it in advance and have some time this month to have a little bit of a break and hopefully get my Christmas tree up, because I haven't done that yet. Anyway, that's an example of some of the blends. Loads of fun. I started off with, that was the last 15 days. The first 15 days, I started off with Christmas blends, so greens, reds, gold, silver, things like that that we would use in a lot of Christmas images first. So that's in the first sheet. So yeah, done a lot. And I'm still videoing the pencils because they take forever. Also, last time I was chatting about my Happy Planner, somebody said that they do colour swatches with their Happy Planner. And I decided what an awesome idea that is. I purchased a Happy Planner. This is really heavy. A Happy Planner hole punch, which does the punch to go into the Happy Planner. And I brought, which haven't come yet, some large rings, and I've printed out some colour lists so I could make myself a colour swatch chart. So I decided to try some laminated and some not laminated, but I had so much trouble with the laminator and the hole punch going through the laminated pages, because these are watercolor ones. So they're done on watercolor paper, which is already quite thick. So I did struggle a little bit getting them through, so I decided to stop doing it with the laminate. I just thought that it might be a little bit easier pulling it in and out with the laminate on, but it's all good, it doesn't matter. But my idea was that I do a lot of color conversions for patrons. So for me, these color wheels, I mean, look how many I have now. I have hundreds of color wheels now, and it's getting to the point where I can't keep track of them, and I lose them and they fall down. And so I thought if I put it all into one folder, what a great idea that was. So for patrons, I am going to post up each color list that I've done. So if you would like to do something like this, you can. But what I thought was, if I use Neo color and I want to match a color with a different brand, let's say Tombow, I can pull the one that I'm matching out. Say I want to match one of these colors down the bottom here. I'm going to go with Scarlet. I can do this. Oh, that one looks pretty close to it. And I'm going to match up this one to, pretty sure that, oh, that one might be a little bit closer. No, that one. So there you go. That was my plan. So I don't know if it was a good idea or not, but oops, I haven't got my rings yet. These are just the small ones that I'm using for now. I'm waiting for my pack of 11 to come. But I thought it was a pretty good idea. Also, I can see what I don't have of each set, which is kind of cool. Caran markers. But yeah, I thought it was a great idea. What a great idea. Come on, it's a good idea. Hi Janine, welcome. For me, it's a great idea because I can. I have so many. Hi Joe Beth, welcome. I have so many. Okay, I'm putting it away. Done. Alright, I got some books. I've been given quite a few books, so I decided to do a great big haul of all of the books so you guys can see them. I've been on Julia Spiri's colouring team. I gave it up about a year ago because I was just getting so flat out with Patreon and streaming, but I've always loved her stuff. It's cute and whimsical, and she's got a couple of books, but she's put these ones together into her newest book, which actually came out over a month or two ago now. But because Amazon Australia is so slow, it took forever for my book to come. But it's here. It is, I mean, the cost, Loretta, was just for the rings. I think the plastic rings were about $11 for the set of 11. This was the biggest cost. This cost me around $30, $34 Australian, but it's a lot cheaper in the US. And then obviously your paper to do all your swatches on. And then you've got to spend time re-swatching everything. But I figured, as I said, the colour wheels are awesome and I love using them, but I have so many now, it's just getting ridiculous. But yeah, for the, once you've got those things, obviously you can add each new set that you get, you can add. Hi Kenny, welcome. Really disturbing this is actually. Arteza, I've had a few requests to do some Arteza alcohol or Everblend marker tutorials and do some colour conversions to them. And I had planned, I'd saved up and planned to go buy some. But if you go to the Arteza website, they don't deliver to Australia. And if you go to Amazon US, they don't deliver to Australia. And if you go to Amazon Australia, they only have a small set and I want the full set. So I'm really disappointed and I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'd really like to get the full set of Arteza Everblend so that I can do some conversions for patrons and also do a couple of videos. Anyway, let's get back to Julia Spiri. Shall we? Shall we? Loretta. Alright, so this has got 50 images in it. From what I could see when I did a quick flip through, which was very, very quick, it feels like it's on Amazon paper, so it's not great quality paper. And a lot of the images she's brought out as individual images too, so if you like one particular image you may be able to find it in her Etsy store. I have a link to the actual book on Amazon here. Kenny, you're not well? Hi, Kimmy. Welcome. Excuse me. How cute is this kitty? He's pretty cute. He's pretty cute. Let's just move this logo for a bit. Obviously the logo is not included in the book. Oh, little Miss Owl. Cute little strawberry houses. Okay, Mia. Hi, Deli. Welcome. More little homes. So they're all grayscale. A little bit more steampunk here. She has no legs. She's kneeling on the ground. We have a dragonfly, another steampunk image. Steampunk's all the thing at the moment, isn't it? Kind of Victorian and steampunky. She's pretty. I coloured this one, or one of these, not this one, but the other. This one I coloured. Should come up really cute. Bohemian Wedding. Hello, Miss Linda. Welcome. Oh, this is cute. Not something that I think I would sit and colour. I think it would take me forever. Oh, look, Copic. Very cute. This is the closet one. Very cute. Bit of Victorian. It is very cute. Lovely princess. Very whimsical. Their eyes are bigger, making them look really wide-eyed and whimsical. She looks like a cat of some sort. With an owl. Oh, he's cute. Hi, Sherry. No worries. Oh, that's cute. Little doorway into the real world, maybe? Little pirate and her cat. Hi, Jacob. Welcome. Another pirate. Just going to repost that because I have a feeling. Ah, dear. Another pirate. Oh, I coloured the Little Mermaids. There was 3 of them. I did these. Very cute. I've done quite a bit of Julie Spiri stuff actually over the time. Do they have an Amazon New Zealand? I didn't even think of doing something like that. I coloured these 2 little unicorns. Very cute. There's so many images in this book. Oh, isn't she sweet? Teddy! He's having a great holiday. That's what summer here is going to be like this Christmas. See, we don't have snow and, you know, white Christmases. We have beach and stinking hot days. It's going to be 37 degrees, that's Celsius, here on Monday, which is really hot. And, oh, don't stress, Sherry. Just relax. I didn't have Christmas here this year. I'll probably just have my dad maybe for lunch or dinner. It depends on who's doing what. Oh, okay. Yep. Gotcha, Shara. Oh, actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the differences would be. Actually, it may be cheaper. The US postage is ridiculous to Australia. But I don't know, so... Hi, Nicotina. Welcome. I've got a colour along, or colour-a-thon, next weekend with Nicotina. So many colour-a-thons going on. Ooh-hoo-hoo. He's cute. He's cute with his ice cream. Got some ice cream. You haven't got no. Sorry, I like Eddie Murphy. Anyway. Oh, look at her princess eyes. Look, she's got a diamond ring. She's just been engaged. It's on the wrong hand. She's not engaged. She's just rich. Or is it on the right hand? No, it's not on the right hand. It's on the right hand. It's not on the left hand. Hi, Andrea. And Shara, I'll get in touch with you and we'll see if we can get some postage prices. She's so cute. Je t'aime. I don't know what that means. It's French. Patties. Very cute. They're like little stamps. You know, you anyway. Going to scoot on our scooter. Okay. Okay, Shara. Hi, Helen. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Anyway, she's going on another holiday. Maybe she's going to Paddy. She's in Paddy, this one. Oh, how adorable. I can imagine some of these on little cards, actually. Very cute. She reminds me of, in Australia here, we had a TV series called, was it Fast Forward? And one of the characters was called Kylie Mole. And she reminds me of her. She just goes. Little bus of kitties. Going on a trip. Bye. School girls. Getting ready for school. Oh, look, it's adorable. She's just gorgeous. The little puppy. Oh, sweet. That's me and my first favourite cat, which was Tigger. Her name was Tiggerus. And she was a ginger. And, you know, of course I looked like that too when I was younger. So, you know, slim and beautiful looking. Now I'm just fluffy and old looking. Here we go. And yes, it's made in on Amazon paper. So there's Julia there. I've purchased her watercolor class, and I did her pomegranate class, which was really awesome too. I also purchased the other class, the hydrangea one, but I didn't end up finishing it. I got some of it done, but didn't finish it. I got so many unfinished projects at the moment. It's just so not funny. So that is Julia Spiri's book, Fanciful Fantasies, colouring book. I'm just popping up the link. It doesn't have a, from what I could find, there was no PDF version of this one. It is only a physical book. But as I said, a lot of those images are available as individual images on her Etsy shop as well. So up in the top corner here somewhere, I'm pretty sure, maybe up here somewhere, maybe there should be like a little information thing, and there should be a link straight to her Etsy store as well. There's actually links to lots of Etsy stores there and Patreon stuff. So the 30-day challenge, the Julia Spiri shop, and Yana Prosperina and Sean, and one more. What's the other one I've got? Dea Lenihan. They're all up here. They should be, if it worked right. Because, you know, YouTube's changed all of their things for streaming, and it makes it really hard to find things, and I get extremely frustrated with it. It's wrong and not helpful. Okay, now, let's do, what, hang on, what? Did I miss something? Nope, good, oh good. No, I cannot tell you that, so just go away. Thank you. Okay, let's do another book. Alright, so I've got 3 different books. We've got, let's do the longest one. Let's pop over and have a look. We're going to do Dea's book first. Everyday Magic. So yeah, that book is it's Dea Lenihan's book, and it's available on Etsy, and I'm sure that it's available in a physical copy as well. I haven't gone to have a look, but because I've got a PDF version, I've just posted that up. It was from Etsy. So Dea contacted me 2 weeks ago and asked me to do a flip through of her book. So this is it. Some very whimsical images in it. I love the animals. They're so cute, doing all cute little things. And the theme of the book is everyday magic. So looking for magic in everyday life. And as you can see, there's loads of magic in the world. But there's some really cute little images, some little elves and fairies and, you know, butterflies and cute little characters. But yeah, artist version, there you go. Sean was just saying there is an artist version. There's also one available on Etsy as well, but go check her out. I've also popped her link up in the top corner there, and also I've just popped the link in the chat box, and also it's in the description below the video as well. So I hope you liked that one. Very cute, lots of different types of images, very detailed. I think one of these images would take me quite a while to do. Oh, I like that. Coraline was in that one. I like Coraline. It's an interesting movie. So that is that one for us. Let's go back to the main screen, and I forgot to add a video, so I'll do that now quickly while we're sitting here chatting. Of course, this is a live stream, and there is a warning there because it may not necessarily be for children. Sometimes we have mature content. Alright, so I'm just adding another flip through here, and then we can move on to the next one. So I've got a few to do, which is kind of cool. The next book is actually a little bit of a, I guess you'd call it a brainchild. Is that right, Sean? It's your brainchild? I don't know. That's the only thing I could, way I could describe it. We'll do that one anyway. So this book is kind of cool. It's got a bit of rock music in it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, so this book is Drawings for Diversity. It's a multi-artist PDF coloring book, and 10% of the profits go to the Stonewall charity, which is celebrating its 50th year of the LGBT, or obviously it's, you know, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender how do you say it? Activism. I don't know why I had so much trouble saying that. So 10% of it does go to charity, and it's quite a nice book. There's loads of different artists in it, some different types of images, and I really like the drag queen. I think she's kind of cool, and I really like it. It's a cool book. Lots of different things in it. So congratulations, Sean, for bringing out a new book and for putting it together for something that you are passionate about, and it's really impressive. So great job. I've popped a link in the description there as well, so check it out. Also, again, in the top corner, I've popped a link to Sean's Etsy page, so you can purchase it from there as well. Hi Christy, welcome. So yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy the I don't know, diversity of it, because it's really cool. This one, I like this one by Carla Magana. I haven't done anything from her before. Very cool. So yes, I hope you all like that, so check it out. All right, so let's go back to the main screen, shall we go back? Great fun. So that's, how many have we done now? We've done Dea Lenihan's, we've done Julia Spiri's, we've done Sean's. I still have another one, which I might colour from today. Hi Sue, welcome. So, yeah. Should we have a look at the last one? Oh yes, Sean has an image in it, the last one. Very good. Alright, let's have a look at the last book. This is a new book by Janna Prosperina, or Janna Fairy Art, also known as. She's also sent me this book. It's her newest book, which is, wait, I've forgotten the name of it. Goodness me. All this stuff in my head here. I don't even know. Let's have a look at it, shall we? I'll pop up the link. It's by Janna Fairy Art, or Janna Prosperina. I think it's called Magical Season. So let's pop in and have a look at it. So guys, how cute is this one? I'm normally into Janna's grayscale one, so it'd be awesome if she brings out a grayscale version of this, because I love her grayscale images. But I really like these ones too. And today I'm going to colour the little cup of I don't know what it is, with the gingerbread man in it, so that's going to be cool. But this one would tick off a lot of boxes for Shelley's Group's advent calendar too, because there's lots of little elements in here that would be, you know, a part of that. So yeah, really cool. So I'm going to do the gingerbread man one, because it's got a candy cane in it, and that's one of the things that I didn't have. And I'm going to do the little gingerbread man on the on Isabel's advent calendar for the gingerbread man one that I missed. But I hope you enjoyed this book too. It is super cute, and it's very well done. Another happy holiday event book. She did bring out one last year, and I also coloured an image from that too, so very cute. Very cute. Oh, look at them. That's not the one I'm going to do. I'm going to do the other one. Well, maybe. I've already printed it now. I have to do it. I have to do the other one. But there's some kind of seasonal but non-Christmassy ones there too, because I think it's like a little bit of a mix. It's not just the traditional Christmas sort of images. That's really cute. I like that one at the end there. But yeah, loads of fun. Heaps cute. Great book. I hope you like it. It would be, wouldn't it, Helen? And there's I just noticed there's a stocking in that one too. I haven't done a stocking either. It's so hard because you can't use the same image for different event days. So you got to do a different image. Anyway. Very cute. I think I might use some Artisas today. Artisa real brush pens. Because I did my swatch chart. And they came out quite nice on this paper. So I'm going to do that today. Also, this is nearly finished. There's 4 extra images at the end of the book too that aren't Christmas related as well, so something a little bit different. And she's popped up the top where it's come from, so it's a little bit of a sample from her other books. Back to the main camera, peoples. So a little while ago I actually purchased a set of Tombow markers from the lovely Linda, who's not here today, and there was like a few missing in it because there's a whole heap of new ones. And there was a couple missing in the set, but I actually went and purchased, because obviously we had all these Black Friday sales, I went and purchased the new markers from the set. So I actually now have the full set of Tombows, which is kind of cool. Pretty cool. Somebody asked me to do an image using the Tombows but without water. That person who asked me to do that, can you tell me what paper works with them? Because I struggled with finding paper that doesn't pill with them. But yeah, there's the colours. These are the Tombows. I've done the left side with out water and the right side with water, just to see how they blend out with water. But there was a few, the ones with the little asterisks on them were the newer ones. So there was a few pinks that were new up in here, which I filled in. And there was a couple of new greys, which I filled in there. No worries, Sean. Thanks for joining us today. And again, congratulations. Bye, Nick and Tina. 120 pencils. See, I haven't tried, I've only tried the ones, the Artisa pencils. I think Linda lent them to me to try. But I don't have those either. But I don't know why, but I must have been able to get the brush pens off Amazon Australia. Because I have the full set of the brush pens, so I haven't really used them that much. I'm not sure what they'd be like on Neenah. just post up Janna's book link again too. Sorry, just making room for my markers. They come in this great big folder thing, which is huge. See them all? I don't know why that does that either. It's annoying. Very annoying, that is. And these are all the Arteza colours. They're pretty vibrant. They actually blended quite well on this paper too, so I thought, why not? Let's give it a try. You much rather have a phone? Oh, speaking of phones, there's a new phone company here in Australia called Mint, and we brought my son a Mint phone. The price of it was actually quite reasonable for the quality of the phone, so really nice phone at the moment. No issues yet. No issues yet. Alright, let's have a look what we have. I need to use my chart. I'm going to put it on this side though. I'm going to go with some dark greens. I've got forest green here. I'm going to use a mixture of just the markers and water. So I've got my little water jar here and a little brush. I'm going to use one of my soft comfort brushes and some water. And I also have a cloth here somewhere. I've got a clean one because my purple one's extremely dirty, so I've got a white one. Would you like to see my purple one? Look at my purple cloth. It needs a good wash. I do a lot of painting with this one. It's looking a bit ratty. Trusty purple cloth. Now these are just like cloth nappies, which is kind of cool. Let's put my colour chart up there so I can see it. Ooh, Samsung. I like Samsung phones too. Hi Selena, welcome. I still have, I don't know what mine is, something plus iPhone. It's 2 years old, it's almost up for its contract. So, have you guys seen the real brush pens before? Maybe I should just show them. Just use the back of the paper here. This is the brush pens. They're actually a paintbrush. Can you see that? Spreading out there. They kind of remind me of the... Okay, someone might have to help me here. I know what they remind me of, but the name of them is just Zig Clean Color. Is that right? Zing, Zig, Zing. Just going over the middle veins. Add a little bit of depth into the middle of the leaves. Kuretake, that's it. I don't think these are as good as those, but they're definitely not as expensive as those. but you can get some nice thin lines and some nice thick lines with them. And I used them on, I don't know what watercolor paper previously, but I did have a little bit of trouble with them kind of blending together or getting a bit of a blend. But I had to play with them yesterday and I seem to be able to work it quite well on this paper, so that was kind of a little bonus, I guess. Let's go a little bit lighter. Got some grass. Just kind of blending off the edge of the previous colour. And I'm just going to leave the edges for a kind of a greeny yellow colour. Oh, they're rebranding them. Wow. I have some Zig fabric markers, which someone was practically giving away, and I thought, oh, I'll get, before I was, you know, learned in these things, I thought, oh yeah, they look cool, I'll give them a try, but they're fabric markers, they're not markers. They're for like silk drawing and things like that. They're kind of cool. I got a few colours in them, but not the full set. I can't believe I haven't put my Christmas tree up yet. Just haven't had time with being so sick this week, and then with Nani in her operation, and try and get it up this weekend. I'll try. I don't know if it'll work, but I'll try, definitely try. I'm gonna go with a greeny yellow. There's one here called sulfur yellow. No, I'm looking at the wrong colours here. Where did they go? I was looking at the wrong colours. Back to my colours. Let's try some acid green. Pea green, acid green. Finish off the edges in that really light yellow green. Kind of weird. I'm not sure I like these pens that much. It's alright. We'll use them a bit more like watercolour in a minute. Brush tips are so little. Washi tape? Keratakia. aren't Kiritaki like, I don't know, for some reason Sakura keeps coming into my head. Like as in koi, Sakura brand. I don't know. Sakura? So yeah, here I was all excited to buy some Everblend markers and I couldn't. So disappointing. I'm sure I could get somebody to get them for me and send them, but my problem is the biggest problem is the end of that marker died. That the cost from Amazon might be say $20 Australian, but when it ends up being shipped privately through shipping, it ends up costing nearly $100 Australian. So the price just increases dramatically. A DP by accident? What's that? Oh, diamond painting. Got it. I have so many diamond paintings sitting here. I really need to do some. I've still got my paint by numbers sitting there that I want to do another video with, and I may have organised a free one for that. That's pretty cool. Let's try this time using a bit of water, because let's go with red. Red and tomato red. You gotta find them. Tomato red and red. You know, I'd probably want to leave a little bit of a highlight spot on these. I don't want to fill them in too much. Leave a shiny berry mark. Cute little berries. I think I need a darker edge on those. Hi Amy, welcome. Crazy? What's crazy? Oh, look at those berries. They're so cute. I don't know. I'm just having a moment. Let me have my moment, okay? What's relaxing as colouring? What? I missed that. Sorry, what? Kenny, what are you up to? I really need to put my Christmas tree up. Ah, it is crazy. It is crazy. Shipping is crazy. That happened with the one that you got me, Helen. I think it ended up being way more in postage than the actual products ended up costing. So it's just crazy. I don't know. They make it really hard for people to connect in the world, don't they? They really do. My little candy cane. I'm going to do darker on each of the sides. And then lighter in the middle. Go with my red. What did you order? What is my fault? Tell me. Tell me, tell me, tell me. So this one's sort of fallen apart a bit. Oh no, I went out the edges. Oh dear. Do I really know what I'm doing today? No, not really. But I'll do it anyway. It's not really, but we'll do it anyway. I know, Helen, I know. But you know what? I was expecting it. Don't stress. But yeah, when you only pay like, I pay like, I don't know, $13 for shipping on Amazon, and then, you know, when somebody else sends it, it costs me $100. It's crazy. Very crazy. It's just cray cray. We're going to go a little bit of flamingo pink, I think. Where are you? Just a little bit lighter in the very middle. Now, the other parts will be white, but I want to put some colour in there, so maybe we'll go with like a grey. Oh, this colour's kind of cool. It's called Palmer Grey, which is like a purple grey, so let's go with that. Just going to go down the edges. Bit of a shadow on the turn. And I'm actually going to use a brush with a tiny bit of water on it just to blend that out a little bit. If it will let me. because you know there's red in there as well, that might bleed. Do you know, it's been so hard. Last night I slept because Nani's got a cone on her head, and she's so used to sleeping with me. I know I'm a glutton for punishment, but she likes to sort of, it's kind of weird, but she likes to crawl down into the blankets, just sort of follow the length of my body down. She does a bit of a U-turn and she lays her back against my back for the full length of my body, with her head at my head and her body all the way down my back. But you know how hard it was for her last night? She wanted to do that, and she's got a cone on, so she couldn't even get under the blankets to do that. It was just a little bit frustrating for her and me. So I ended up with a cone sitting on my face most of the night to try and get her to go to sleep. Poor little girl. I had a little bit of bleeding in there, but it looks alright. It's kind of cute. Let me see if I can remove some of that red off there. Yeah. I'm going to put a light line down there, I think. Let's go with the Jane Davenport medium. It's not really working too well. Let's try the Posca instead. I know, the poor baby. So she doesn't lick her sore. I'll show you the picture. Poor little girl. She was spayed yesterday, and you know, they actually cut them open and they take out their internal girl bits. There she is. Look, there's a cone on her head, and this is her cut, and it goes nearly all the way down her belly. There you go. Hang on, wait. Gruesome image. Look away from the screen if you're a little bit faint with that kind of thing. But that's the scar. It's quite long. It's at least the length of my finger, so it's a pretty long scar. Oh, it's got a scar. At the moment, it's stitches. So yeah, poor baby girl. She's not a happy girl at the moment. And she's really quite full on, so I think it's a bit of a change for her. She's, you know, it's stressful. Stressful. Very stressful. I'm just going to use that Parma Grey, and it's going to do a bit of snow sort of coloured frosting, I guess, around the outside of the cup. So yeah, poor little baby. She's just not happy. And I'm not happy because I didn't get much sleep. She was alright till about 4 in the morning, and then she started getting upset because she couldn't get in and cuddle like she normally does at that time of the morning. Before that, she was out cold with most likely still a lot of painkillers in her system. And we had to give her tramadol painkillers. And apparently we've got to do that for 4 days, so she's going to be pretty out of it for a few days, I'm going to take a guess. Just trying to add a little bit of dimension into the white part. Dogs are definitely humans. I heard that someone said that dogs aren't humans. Oh, no, she's definitely human. And she's usually so vibrant and full on. So, of course, we're trying to get her to calm down, and she just wants to get out and play. And she's such a cuddler. Oh, I must have green. Oh, I did. I had green on my finger. I smudged it on there. Get off my finger. Anyhow. What colour should we make the mug? I don't know what this drink is inside here, but it's now white, whatever it was. It's white chocolate. White hot chocolate. I don't know. I had a white hot chocolate. It wasn't very nice. Probably didn't help that it wasn't actually hot. It was warm. Oh, you didn't really? I haven't heard that. We got her done because we have some friends with dogs and we just didn't want to risk her getting puppies. We couldn't have that here. We couldn't get rid of them. Would be our problem. So it's just worth not risk. It's not worth the risk. Also, I didn't want to have to deal with the mess if she did go into in heat. We think she was pretty close too. She's starting to get antsy. 6 months old on the 24th, Christmas Eve. She's 6 months old. I think I might maybe trying to do a gold cup. I'm going to say try because it may not turn out. You know, we're using strange coloured markers that I haven't used before. Hi Linda, we were just talking about you before. Yeah, that's right. And she wasn't, and they say actually not to let them go on heat before. If you're not going to let them have pups, then don't let them go on heat either. Apparently, I don't know. I have no idea. I was just saying that I purchased the Tombos and there was just a couple missing, and also there's a whole heap of new ones, so I filled in my set with the Black Friday sales, and this is a Tombow, sorry, did I mention that? And I filled in the set, so I now have a complete set, including the new ones. Bit of yellow now, maybe Bumblebee. That's such a cute name. We've actually purchased most of our pets. They've already been spayed, so we've brought them from an animal aid. Shadow is one of the first animals we brought from a breeder, and she, being a Bengal, the breeder spays them before they send them off because they don't want you to be competition for them. So yeah, she was spayed when we got her. She already had her little scar and had been through the op, so. And our other dog we got from an animal aid, and she was already done. I think she was already 4 or 5 months old when we got her, I think. She was a hard to handle one too, that one. But yeah, most of our animals have already been done. So, yeah. I wonder if we go a bit of, no, lemon yellow or acid yellow. Let me look. Let's go acid yellow. Just kind of blending off the edges a little bit. I actually quite like having a little bit of colour, a little bit of white left in there if I can too. So they're actually not too bad on this paper. I'm using the Canson extra large watercolour paper for this. I don't know what I used last time I tried them, but they didn't work very well on whatever paper I tried. Yeah, ours here, if we do pet rescue, they always spay them first. They don't put them up for adoption until they've been spayed. And had their little tattoo in their ear. Oh, that's quite cute. I quite like that. Let's do the handle. I'm going to put a bit of a gold shiny streak down the middle. I'm going to do they're blending quite well on this paper. Bumblebee, a bit of bumblebee. So I'm not really doing much. I'm just, I mean, they're not 100%. They're not like, you know, oh, that just blends so seamlessly, but it's blending enough. I mean, the gold colour's quite nice with a bit of shape in it, definition, and a bit of lines anyway, so it's not too much of a worry. No, I'm going to need to put some white down that one. With my Posca. Giving it a bit of a smudge with my finger. No, that's pretty cute. And you know what? I think we could do... Oh, I got it all over my finger now. Just clean that off a bit. I think we could put a bit of a sparkle on that too, maybe. Let me grab a jelly roll. Put a sparkle in the top corner here. I'll wait till I do the background now. Let's make these stars gild. Well, it's a big picture. Do you want me to zoom in a bit so you can see? It's not like perfect, my dear. Abby. See, you can still look at these. These are still like weird and smudgy. You know, like it's not completely smooth. Weird and smudgy. That gold star's not even coming out there. I'll have to use some gouache. Gouache. I'm going to use this one. This is a Royal Talons one. My hubby picked it up for me because I didn't have my other one was just weird and it went tacky and strange, so can you pick me up one? No problems, my love. That's just my impression of my husband, because that's what he does. And his love. Squeak. Oh, it's a little bit brighter. Still not what I was thinking, but anyway. Yeah, they're not, I don't think they're wet. They're wet, but they're not like saturated wet. I haven't actually used zigs before, so I actually honestly don't know for sure what the differences are. Excuse me, hiccuping away. I've had the worst indigestion lately. Wah-ha-ha. Because I eat too much junk food. I eat too much food that makes you fluffy. Some bumblebee. Well, those colour blends, Abby, that we've been doing in Patreon, they should help with blending. They should help a little bit. You're trying to get similar colours. If you don't have Copics, that's fine. Have a look at another brand of pencil or something that you do have and try to sort of match it to that colour in your brand. And then have a play with them. It's a great way to have a go and a practice. We'll put some highlights on those later. Can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man. Let's do him. This time I'm going to use one colour, I think, and use some water to blend it out. Or maybe I'll use two colours. I might use a dark, say, coffee. Or walnut. Walnut. Let's go with walnut. Practice, practice, practice. And that's why those practice sheets are so good. I haven't really got a light source here. Let's kind of go... who knows? We'll just put to one side. We do want him to look round, so here we go. He looks a bit strange. Let's fill in some chocolate. This one's fairly wet, this colour. Oh no, I was thinking, it might not work yet. Now I might just use some water to blend it out. It might be a bit dark for a gingerbread man. He's a chocolate gingerbread man. He's chocolate. Hi, Dea. How are you? We just did a flip through of your beautiful book before. It's very pretty. Everyday Magic. And now I'm pretending I know what I'm doing with teaser brush pens, but I really don't know what I'm doing. Just trying to make them work, you know? Giving them a go. We may have to come in with some pencils and just define a few things and neaten a few things up maybe, but I think we're looking pretty good at the moment. Also, he's a chocolate gingerbread man. I'm good, thank you. And thank you. It was a cute book and I'm glad that I got to have a look through it. You had a few oohs and ahs, didn't we, peoples? Oh. Where's my palette? Just going to put a bit of that chocolate on my palette here. Yeah, they're not that wet. See, there's only a little bit of ink that came out of that then. I just want to fill in those areas that didn't blend out that well. He'll do. I mean, you know, he's a cookie. He's not going to look smooth and clean, especially not a chocolate one anyway. I'm just going to get rid of some more of the colour that just went out the edges. So just going to spread a bit of water on the area and then just dab it off a bit. Done. Look, came off onto my cloth. That's very clever, that trick. You know, the bottom is a little bit more red than the top. I think the top got a little bit more walnut colour in it. So, it's not too bad. I don't know what colour eyes I'm going to do yet. Gingerbread men usually have like white icing. I don't know. Thanks, Kenny. Alright, let's have a look at what skin colours we have. Oops, let that dry a bit. we've got like these pale peach, cantaloupe, and peach. Well, actually, let me check. Ginger is kind of a cool color too for skin. I'm just going to go with a layer of pale peach on her skin. I'm not going to try and define it yet. Just hang on, wait. Is that a sleeve? That looks like she might have clothing over her arm, whereas that doesn't. I'm very lost. I don't know. This one? Yes, I did. I did make it. Somebody mentioned that they use the Happy Planner for their swatch charts, and I was like, oh, I could make a book instead of using the Happy Planner. And yeah, I quite like it. It's going to come in handy, especially with how many brands I have. Yes, Kenny, I'll post it up. Yeah, it might be, Dea, I'm not sure. Kenny, I'll post up something in the new year with it, because I want to do the pencil one first and see how it all works together, and then I can post up the template for patrons. Yeah, it might be, Dea, you might be right. Let's just colour it, and then I'll put a layer of, like, I don't know, something over it. She's wearing kind of like a jacket thing over the top of this dress too. Top hat. Top hat. Let's go with Noah. Oh. Give him. I'm just going to colour that. And give him a highlight spot. Cute little black hat. Well, he's a little bit different because he's got a top hat on. So chocolate gingerbread man with a top hat. I'm just going to use a tiny little bit of water and just blend that edge off. There. And there. And there. Going to have a red, tomato red, just got a bit of black on my tip there, I need to use a little bit of white there, I think, a bit of Posca, there we go. Spread that out a little bit. Posca's amazing. I like Posca. Goes over everything. Yeah, I don't know. Alright. Should we give her a black top hat too? Yeah, I can see the arms, but it looks like this one's got no clothing on it and this one's got clothing. So it's hard to know what's supposed to be going on here. Perhaps her sleeve is rolled up or something there and it's not here. I don't know. So there's like a... So this is like the jacket here. And there's a bit of jacket here. And this is all dress in here. But this has got a wrinkle on it like it's a sleeve of some sort. Like it doesn't look like it's just an arm. That's where I was confused. I think she should have a red dress though. This could be risky because I'm not used to these, so... So this week I haven't really been able to do much with my ear, and I've been watching series cooking shows like Zumbo's Just Dessert and Sugar Rush and things like that. I think this dress might actually supposed to be sheer because some of the coffee cups coming through there. But some of these shows are so addictive. Also, I'm pretty good with trivia, so I like shows with trivia in them. Because the free arm has no clothing and the other arm has a sleeve, then no clothing. But I like Guns N' Roses. Yes, but I don't understand why there's a line there that's not like the jacket stops. It's a short jacket. Which I'm going to make black, I think. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. Stop asking. They're interesting. They're interesting, these pens. They're Arteza Real Brush pens and they're very interesting. I haven't really used them. This is kind of like, I don't know, I think I've played with them a little bit, but I haven't actually used them properly. There's is kind of the first time. I always end up playing with stuff on Janna's images. That's so weird. I think I did those Sergeant Art pencils with the Janna image. I did the Arteza pencils with a Anastasia Caldeva image. Thanks, Sue. I don't really. I'm just going to use a bit of water to fill this out. I don't want to use, I was going to use the tomato red over the top, but I felt that came out a little bit too defined looking. Just kind of want to blend this out a little bit. So tomorrow for the colorathon, I thought I might have Alicia on, and I thought we might do some Christmas place cards. I've got some products there that I haven't really used before. You can have a laugh at me stuffing them up. Learning how to use them. So if you're a card maker, a professional card maker, please don't watch or don't judge, because I'm not a professional card maker. So I'm just going to make that disclaimer right now. Something different, a little bit of fun. And I want to make some place cards for Christmas Day, so. Quite as blended and nice as I would have liked, but it'll do. So should I just make this sleeve like a light pink? Do you reckon? Oh, I don't know what to do with this one. I'm a little bit stuck. You know what? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm just going to put a bit of the flamingo pink on my palette and I mean, she's not gonna, if this was her actual arm, she wouldn't have that wrinkle there. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. No, there's a, I don't know if you can see it. It's really hard to see it. Hang on. Wait, and I'll show you. See? There's a wrinkle in it. So it stops, the sleeve goes across there. And then there's a wrinkle here, like a sleeve, underneath the jacket. So this looks like something else coming in under her arm here. Now I've just stuffed that up. No, that's not her bent arm. That's like fabric folded there. That's a fabric fold. That is a fabric fold. Not her arm. No, that's fabric there. Like your arm doesn't wrinkle like that. It's not. can argue with me, it's fine. I'm leaving it. Where's the black? No. What I might do is I might just put a sleeve up here or something and do the same colour in this arm. Too thick. Because otherwise we're just going to argue with each other. And it's just not going to be right. We're just going to get frustrated. Hair. Hair. Let's put that skin colour in there. I don't have a wrinkle there and I've got flab. I had a muscle there. I could, like, you know, flex my muscle there maybe. Just her foot looked weird. Oh no, I just smudged it. Oh, also I've got to change the focus back. Just realised. Oops. Go that way. It's a bit better. Hi, Laura. Alright, now I'm just going to do the other sleeve, the same colour. Ta-da. Now there's no arguing, okay? She's got a nice pink sleeve. Does that make sense now? It's the only thing when you're colouring somebody else's, you know, creation is what goes where. And I've lost my black pen. Where's my black? Great. Oh, here it is, black. Loretta. It's the best place to have it. What's the point of being an adult if you can't do that? Hey? This could be difficult, this black jacket, because I don't want it to look like a big blob, if I can help it. This marker, the black, is really runny. It's really, really runny. What were some of the greens that we used? I know one was acid green. Let's do that on her top here. Let's make her have acid green eyes. And let's give her some red lipstick. Why not? I'll make sure that's dry because I don't want it to bleed either. Aww, her face looks too white. We'll have to add some colour in there. In a minute. We'll do her hat. Oh, ooh, yeah, we'll do a hat first because I don't want to smudge out that colour I've just done. So. What? What are you talking about? I'm so lost. Linda, what are you talking about? That's her hand under her chin. There. Yeah. That's her other hand. There. On her lap. Her elbow is sitting on her knee and her hand is up under her chin. Yes. Laura, I'm thinking about doing some Christmas cards tomorrow. I am. With my daughter. She's going to come and join me. So you'll get to hear her. I'm excited too. Yes, Shadow. You're excited too, aren't you? Yes. Oh, this pen is so runny. Hi. Are you right? You're just in everybody's way, especially mine. Hi, Princess Shadow. What are you doing on my work? Are you going to get down? Hey? To you too. You're noisy. You are very... Are you just going to sit on my stuff? Are you? Okay. There you go. Try that. Sit. 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 Do you know she sits on command? It's pretty cool. She's very clever. This cat. Seriously? No, that's not where I want you to sit. Oh, Shadow, you're in my light. Shadow. You know, we're not finished yet. How long have we got? Oh, we are finished. We're almost finished. I'm just going to do this hat. And, Shadow, really? Just the front bit there. Ah, it went on her skin. I knew that was going to happen. Seriously, cat? What's wrong with you? You're messing everything up. So, I do not care. Get over it. Oh, she doesn't give it two hoots. She's just happy to be on camera. She's such a camera stealer, aren't you? Wait, 12 a.m. my time is 7:30 p.m. here now. It's in, what's the time now? 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3, 5, 24, 5, 6, 7, 27 and a half hours I will be live. So count 27 and a half hours from now. That's when I'm going to be live. Again. She needs darker green eyes and darker green. What did we use? Pine green? No. Emerald? No. What green did we use, guys? You guys remember, don't you? Well, it wasn't any of those. What's this one? I don't know. Shadow, what are you doing? Mint green. Basil, that's not what I used either. I'm lost. What green did I use, peoples? I need a darker green. Let's just go with green. That's a bit better. It looked too yellow. That's better. Yeah. 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 She's just gone. It will be Saturday here for me. It will be early morning Saturday for most people, I think, Mia. Green and red are complementary colours, and I'm hoping that we can get them to work together. They might not, but let's just hope. I think they're working okay together. This Christmas fairy is really looking good. Sorry, I know that I'm supposed to be finished, but I would have really liked to have finished most of this before going. So that looks cool. Bye, Shara. Hi, Pam, and hi anyone else that sort of popped in there while I was busy talking, because I like talking. That's why I do this. Shh. We already know you like talking. Yes. You're already painful. Painfully cute. Oh, really? You just bumped my camera bumper. Just blending out that green a little bit. I do like these markers. I think they're pretty cool. And the fact that you can sort of neaten it up a bit with some water and get a nice light colour from your darker colour is really cool too. Let's go back with red. It's kind of a pinky red, but it's still red. What am I saying? Red, pink is red. It's just got white in it. Watered down red. Yeah, watered down red. Oh, oh, dropped it. I dropped it. You don't have any winter holiday books, but you know what? I have winter holiday books, and I haven't coloured hardly anything. Oh, that's another book that I actually got. I got the Christmas Colouring Heaven colouring book. Actually, there's a couple of pictures in there that I quite liked. I really like the Santa in it. This Santa here on the front. He's cool. I think I'd do well with him. Who's he by? He is by no one, because I can't find it. Here he is, this guy here. Charles Santor. That's funny, Santor. Because he does Santa. Sorry. I know. Having one of those days. Here he is. A couple of his images here. Cute. This Santa is so cute. I wish he was a little bit bigger, actually. A little bit closer to the... Oh, here we go. That is cute. Look at that. I think I could do that really well. I love his use of light and shade here. It's so cool. It's like he is in a fireplace here, and this is all sort of dark, and all you can see is these reflections of the fire on him. He's really cute. Maybe I should do him tomorrow, as well as some Christmas cards. You gotta look at it like go and have a look at some clothing and have a look at, it's kind of got fluidity and yeah, clothing, kind of the creases and things like that, it flows and moves, so something that I might need to do a class on. Let's work on shading first and get this 30 days of blending done, and then do something with clothing, I think. This doesn't look the same as the other side. Did I pick up the wrong colour? No, I don't know. It just looks a bit darker or something. Perhaps because it's bigger. It's a bigger area. I've probably got some impatient children waiting for me to finish my stream. They're watching Nani, keeping her occupied and quiet. Yeah, I don't know why, but that looks like it's so much more darker than the other side. Just add a bit more water and lighten it up a little bit. It's not as good as I wanted it, but it'll do. It'll do. It'll do. she needs to have yellow hair to go with the cup. I do. I think I'm due to get the next one already. It's been a while since I've got that one, so I don't know. The Colouring Heaven. I just renewed my subscription actually, because it's been quite worth it. I've quite liked it. Oh, I just realised something. I don't want this colour. I thought it was part of the cap. It's actually her part of the cup. It's actually her foot. Yeah, I'll fix it up later. I'll probably do that green. Oh, he needs a red bow. Let's do some red. Hi. Really? She's telling me to get off. Get off. Stop playing games. Get off. Just be careful, not too much water here. Just want to blend it, but I don't want to smudge that brown if I can help it. Laura, I loved your Joanna Basford day one picture. I wanted to mention that, and the one you did yesterday, your one, is really cool too. I love the dimension that you got in her. So beautiful. Alright, now he needs something here in his face. What do you guys think? He needs some green. I'm just going to give him a green feather there. Spread that out a little bit. Good. Maybe gold in his eyes. A little bit of gold in his mouth and his eyes. I was going to do it white, but I don't think it will quite be right there. Give him a gold mouth. Bright yellow. Yes, and then we can add in like some Posca pen, because you know, love Posca. I know, she did such a good job with that, getting all those artists together, and brilliant. I love stuff like that. Actually, the first month of 2020, oh my gosh, the first colour along we'll be doing will be Christine Caran for the new year. That's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. But I love doing that. I love having, you know, everybody involved in stuff. It's such fun. So I'm going to give her some gold sort of hair, and I'm not going to bother too much about those details because that will just take me too long. So let's just add a little bit of this darker colour. And then the bumblebee. Just going to do it in strokes though, and try and get us some highlights still in the later sections. I've gone over some of the edges of her hair with those other colours, but yeah, Eh. Acid yellow. Uh-oh. I went over a hand. Goodness me. Alright, let's go back to the skin because it looks pretty terrible at the moment. Alright, I've got some chocolate. Just a touch. And I'm going to put some on my palette and then just use my brush with a fair bit of water. And just add in some shape. Just using a wet brush now with no colour on it, just to blend that out a bit. Oh, see, I smudged her lips. I knew that was going to happen. Just a bit close with that wet brush. Oh, good. At least she doesn't look like she's pasty white now. She looked so pasty white before. Goodness me. Now it looks like she's been kissing somebody. She's been having smoochies with someone. Maybe the chocolate gingerbread man. I mean, who wouldn't want a chocolate gingerbread man? There we go. My brush is a bit dry. There was a little bit of flamingo pink still sitting on my palette, and I've just kind of mixed that in with the chocolate a little bit there. Lighten up this area a little bit. She looks really pink now. Let's give her some highlights. She's cute. These are the Jane Davenport. This is a Jane Davenport paint over pen. It's not as opaque as the Posca, but that's okay because I kind of want it to blend in a little bit if I can. I'm going to assume there's some sort of acrylic, but they're water-based, so just lightening off that side of her face a little bit. Alright, you can't see that very well, but yeah, man. Just, oh, whoa. That looked terrible. It's getting there. Slowly but surely it's getting there. Give her a bit of a sparkle in her eye. Sparkle in her lips. And a couple of little light patches of colour. I think I'm close to finishing her. I just want to do the background and then her stockings, and then I'm done. But I think that's it for me for today. I think I've taken up everybody's time long enough, eh? I know, I'm so mean. I just, you know. I think we could put some magical things on this, on her a little bit. I think we could probably do some like oh yeah, that's gonna look good. Give her some spots throughout her wings here. Make him look shiny. Shine bright like a diamond. Shining, shining. Anyway, I think that will look good. Shiny bow tie. Dress. No problems, peoples. Thank you so much for coming and watching me. I do mean that. It means a lot to me. And I will see you all tomorrow. For a Christmas stream. As I said, I think we might make some Christmas cards. I'm going to do some I want to do some place cards for my Christmas day. And I brought, as I said, a whole heap of products that I'm just going to have a play with that I've never ever used before. So that's going to be fun. We're going to wing it. Gonna wing it. Because what better way to do it? Well, that's what I think anyway. What better way? So guys, make sure you check out the description if you want to check out all of the books. So we had Dea's Everyday Magic, Janna's Magical Season. We had Julie Spiri's, I can't remember the name of the book. It's just left my mind. Julia Spiri's Fanciful Fantasies. And we also had the book for Drawing for Diversity. So check out the description. Also in the top right hand corner of this video there should be an information button with all of the links to Janna's Patreon, also link to Dea's store, to Sean's store, to Julia's store, and to my Patreon for the 30-day color blending challenge. Also in the description we've got Isabel's advent calendar. I didn't think of this when I was colouring this section, that that colour might bleed out of those areas. That would have been a smart thought, Belinda. Perhaps the background should have been first in this particular area. Yeah, well, you win some and you lose some. That's my thoughts. We won at the top. But I'm going to go ahead. I think I might do her stockings the same colour as the candy cane down here. Maybe just red and white. And I might do, I don't know, some contrasting colour in here. Maybe a bit of orange. Don't know yet. Orange might make it too warm. And this one can go in my advent calendar for my candy cane. Or my gingerbread man. I haven't decided yet. I'm thinking candy cane because I've got the other gingerbread man there. You guys are already left and I'm still talking. It's all good. I just want to finish it. I'm just trying to give it a wintry kind of look there in the background, a bit of snow. And I'm not sure what to do inside the bowl. Maybe I'll go with a wintry blue. Maybe not purple, maybe blue. What colour was this one? What about some Arctic blue? Hi Debbie, thanks for liking. Oh, thanks Abby. I am glad that I'm feeling a lot better. I was feeling pretty crappy this week. But good to be back into streaming. Yep, looks good. I'm gonna do that all the way around the edges. And then I'm done. Thanks again, guys. See you next time. See you tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Bye.